I welcome you guys back into my video over here. I have a nice beautiful course here for the next hour. I'll be here for 3 hours today. I realise that now it's how to find foundation. I need you to understand that when you're finding foundation in life, you're really looking for empathy, you're really looking for something of leadership quality, you're really looking for something to speak out more. You have to speak out some more value in order to find some foundation in your life that's really going to grow you, because that way you will communicate in a better way and you'll do it much better than yesterday. I promise you, each and every time I do a street performance, I'm much better than yesterday, because I see tens of thousands of people look at me every single day. So guess what? I'm just improving my communication, and that way I have a better feel, I have a better way of life, I have a better way of doing everything in my life, because guess what? It's about value, and you have to give value every single day in order to find yourself the best foundation in life. You have to understand that in order for you to really lift, you have to understand that foundation is right now. You understand? You have to live in the moment. You have to be that person who can lift people. You have to understand that to find foundation is to live much greater than yesterday. You have to understand that's what it's all about. You have to understand it's really about promoting yourself in a way that you understand that no matter what happens, you're going to do your video anyway, every single day, because guess what? If you don't do your work, I promise you that you'll do nothing, and that's the worst of all. I promise you what you need to do every single day is do something according to what's going to help you every single day. I promise you, I don't know what that is for you, although make it something uplifting. I need you to understand that I have people over here doing the skateboard. You just realise that no matter what, you just be a person who can realise to just overcome what the outside world is doing, because that's how you I realise that that's how you find foundation in your life, you understand? So make sure that no matter what happens, you're a person who can look inside of yourself, because that way you're going to be a more confident person. You're going to do something incredible in your life. You're going to realise that there's something to do every single day, so you show up for it. Every single day you're doing something amazing, you're doing something positive, and making sure that no matter what, you're also recording your videos, you're making sure that every single day you're modelling and you're doing some fashion shows around town, you understand? Because guess what? You have to take photos of yourself, because you're going to love yourself that way. So make sure that every single day you're loving yourself in a way that you're giving your skills every single day about what you've learned today. You understand? Because when you put it in, I promise you, when you put it into a 3-hour video every single day, you're going to boost your communication skills, you're going to be that type of person who can lead. I promise you that's the best way to find foundation in your life. I need you to understand that the foundation that you're looking for is planning skills. You need to be able to plan and organise your life every single day and schedule it every single day. I promise you it's all the same thing, although you understand that if you don't have a journal, you understand that you can never ever plan them. You have to understand that you need to write something down. You need to write yourself a book. I'm an author also. I realise that you guys understand I have the book Ultimate Road to Success inside my Mega Drive over here. You understand? Because guess what? You need to write yourself a book so that you can inspire somebody. You understand? Because if you don't write your story down, I promise you nobody else will. You need to be that type of person who can write your story. You have to realise that you can write today, and you have to start today writing in your journal you need to write in your journal every single day so you can plan and organise and really strategize a business strategy that's going to work for you in what you're saying. Because guess what? When you're saying something, you better be doing it, because that's how you find foundation. I need you to understand, to realise something great is to be greater than you are. In a sense, so make sure that you're always following something greater than you are, because that way you're going to find a better way. I promise you the better way is right now. You understand? Because those people who are living this moment, I promise you those people are going to live. I promise you those people are going to love you when you're lifting them. You understand? Because guess what? It's really that you love yourself in the most of aspects of life. You understand? Because in the most aspects of life, if you're not loving yourself, I promise you nobody else will. You understand? So be that type of person who can love yourself in the most brilliant way. You understand? So make sure that you're never asking for love from others, because they'll never give to you. You understand? Because you need to give yourself that love. I promise you that's your own responsibility every single day, to be able to go inside and to really rule your world in terms of something greater. You need to be that type of person who can lift people. You need to be that type of person who can really communicate every single day and do something amazing for yourself. You understand? So today I went and did a fashion show. I took 1,500 photos of myself, and guess what? That's going to last me for the next month. You understand? So guess what? No matter what, be that type of person who goes to have a photo shoot, and you have 10 photo shoots of yourself in different clothing. You understand? Because that way you're going to look sexier when you are in the mirror. You understand? Because the more you look at yourself in the mirror and take photos of yourself, I promise you, the more you take photos of yourself and do videos and podcasting and write books and also quotes. I've got over 23,000 quotes, guys. I can communicate that way. I can also look sexier. I can also feel better, because I'm doing something in the world that's positive. I realise that no matter what, I bring something to the table, and that's what you need to do. You need to bring something to the table. I promise you, most people have got nothing to give. In a sense, so I'm here giving for 3 hours. I'm giving for 24 hours a day. You understand? Because I've got something to give. I'm always doing my business. I'm always doing something passionate. I'm always doing something that's really going to help me move forward. You understand? Because guess what? I make sure that I'm just focusing on myself every single day the most, because guess what? Who loves me the most? I do. You understand? Because guess what? You must also love yourself the most, because that's the way you find foundation. I mean, that's the way, I like it. You understand? So make sure that you understand that you're a person who's really lifting yourself each and every single day. So that way, you will find something to say. I promise you, there's always something to say in personal development and spirituality and marketing and anything that you ever need. You have to understand that my videos are based on everything in life, you understand? So you understand when I speak about life, I speak about it all in a term that is broad, you understand? So make sure that you really capitalize about what I say, because that way you will be a better person. You understand that those people who go and do anything in their power that is much better, I promise you those people are going to find more power within themselves, because within is everything. You understand? Because when you go within, you'll never be without. I promise you, when you go looking for pleasure in the outside world, like sex and drugs and all this partying that's going on, I promise you're going to be wasting time, because Jesus says that you must delay gratification in order to be a leader, and that's the best way. I promise you, the more you delay sex, I promise you, the more you're going to be a leader. You understand? So be that kind of person who understands that you need to be productive today, and you need to be doing something in according to a better way of life. I realize that for me, it's really look inside. I realize for me, it's really be spiritual and make sure that you're reading spiritual books. I currently read Osho's book from the Book of Secrets, because that book is a 50-hour book. I read it in terms of audio. I make sure no matter what, I read it 3.5 times faster. I realize that it's worth it when you're working for something that's really going to help you. In a sense, so when you're working for something that's really going to help you, you're going to find this moment, you're going to realize the spirituality that you need. You need to grow yourself each and every single day. You need to realize that it's really about growth. You have to understand that each and every time you speak in a way that you've never spoken before. You make sure that you find foundation in yourself, because that's how to find foundation. I promise you that foundation means that you must be doing something today to make sure that you're bettering your life. I promise you, those people who do that every single day are the ones who are worthy. I need you to be worthy every single day, because that way you're going to have a better life. I promise you, you're going to manifest a better life. You're going to be that person who can do the law of attraction every single day and attract better people into life. I promise you, most people never care about you. In a sense, so make sure that you care about yourself the most. I promise you, that way you will lift yourself and do something amazing. In a sense, because those people who can communicate every single day, I promise you they're going to grow into mature people. I promise you they're going to be able to lead the crowd, and they're going to make events around town. And guess what? You have to understand that when you make events, I promise you it's going to be you who's doing that. You understand? Because nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to understand that when you're traveling the world, such as you'll understand that you need to go and grow any way you can. So one way I grow is on the street, and I make sure I bring Toastmasters International, which is a public speaking event, every single day for 3 hours. I do nice, beautiful videos, and I make sure to have a speaker involved, because guess what? I like my voice to vibrate. I like my tonality. I like the person I am, because guess what? I developed myself to be here. You understand? So be that person who can always develop yourself in a better way. I promise you that's the best thing you can do. I promise you it's worth it. I promise you it's worth yourself to encourage yourself every single day to do something foundational that's going to increase your skills, because that way you're going to talk better, you're going to live better, you're going to be more comfortable in front of an audience. You're going to realize that no matter what, that when I do 3 hours a day for 5 days, you understand I did 15 hours. You understand? So no matter what, you be a person who's doing 3 hours of content every single day on video. You understand? Because I do that. You understand? That's why I get so confident, because I'm always speaking my words in a better way. I'm always looking for a better way to do with life. I'm always making sure that I never get lazier in life. I'm always making sure I never procrastinate or jet lag. I make sure I take action now. I make sure I learn something today that's going to help me. I'm always reading or listening to music or making sure that I write something, or I make sure to mature in some kind of way that I can mature. You understand? So I have plenty of personal development to go over the next 73 years, because my goal is to achieve the 100 years of age. Because guess what? Each and every day I have a nice beautiful schedule where I eat certain food to get me there. You understand? So guess what? What you eat in daily life is not just about the food. I promise you it's also about the audio programs that you listen to, and the TV shows that you watch, and the people that you surround yourself with. I promise you are the 5 people that you surround yourself with. I promise you go develop yourself with better people. You understand? So those people who are positive and giving positive scenarios in the world in terms of ideas and speaking about something about life, I promise you those people are going to give you more aspects of encouragement that you need every single day, which is a nice, beautiful, lethal injection of positivity that you need. You understand? So be that kind of person who is lethally, right now, a positive person. You understand? Because that way you're going to understand that you're going to give people a nice dose of positivity in life, and that way you're going to inspire them to grow. And that's the whole point of life. I promise you, the whole point of life is make sure you're never going down, you're going up, because to be up is to be upbeat, and to be down is to be a downbeat. I never need you to be a downbeat because those people are depressed. I never need you to be around them. I need you to be around people who are energetic. I need you to be around people who've got what it takes. I promise you that success to me means being better than yesterday. I only have one vision. I promise you my goal today is to complete 3 hours of video in front of an audience because it's my day 5 today. And guess what? That way, when it's day 5, I did 15 hours of nice, beautiful material in a row. You understand? So 3 hours every day makes up 15 hours in front of an audience and 15 hours of videos in 5 days. You understand? So I'm totally, let's say, more in front of an audience the past 5 days than my mentors are. You understand? So realize that no matter what, you can start today to do something amazing for yourself, and you realize that when you have your own music, you play your own music, and you really schedule everything that you can to really succeed, because when you do, you're going to really be more organized, you're going to be more planned, you're going to be a person successful, you're going to be a person who can succeed, you're going to have your own books, you're going to write your own books of success. I mean, you have a life. I promise you that if you're poisonous, I promise you that you have to get unpoisoned. You understand? So make sure that you give yourself that antidote that you need and stay away from the drugs. You understand? I promise you that when the drugs are going to hit you, I promise you you're going to go downhill. You understand? So make sure that no matter what, that you realize I was on the drugs, I realized the drugs are never the way to go. You understand? So be that person who boosts your attitude every single day and get away from the drug addicts. You understand? Because they are never going to help you. I promise you. Those people who help you are the ones online today who are millionaires and billionaires. I promise you the ones who have the mindset. I promise you the ones who are talking business every single day. I promise you they're the ones who are going to I promise you they're the ones who are going to lift you every single day. I promise you those people are going to give you positive encouragement every single day to do something, because they are, and that way when you're surrounded by millionaires, you'll be one. In a sense, so make sure you're around better attitudes in life. I promise you all you're settling in life is an attitude, and that's how to find foundation in your life. In a sense, so make sure you're always better. Make sure that you're always doing something more great in terms of life. Because that way you'll be greatness. I promise you you'll be something amazing. I promise you you'll do something amazing. I promise you that every day is a working day for me, because guess what? Here I am showing up on a Sunday, and guess what? You have to understand that my church is inside. You understand? I'm always in church in life, because inside is the way to go. You understand? Because there's nothing out there. You understand? I make sure to work every single day. I'm always here working. I'm always here showing my face. I'm always here making sure that my voice is heard. I realize I can go around Australia with this nice beautiful speaker. I can make sure that I have to go to Darwin anyway very soon. And you have to understand that when I go around Australia, I'll be doing street performance everywhere. You understand? Because guess what? I have to do my work every single day. I have to make sure that I get under the cover so the rain can never swipe me out. You understand? So make sure that you're very planned each and every single day. You have to understand that your habits matter, and your habits are your destiny today. You understand? So the better your habits and the better your skills, you understand the greater life you have. So be that type of person who has a greater life and a better lifestyle. You understand that you need to be able to communicate, you need to be able to make sure that you stay away from the luxury items, because that's going to take away your money. You understand? Because I promise you that what matters in life is making sure that you have more health. You understand? Because health is wealth. I promise you those people who have more health have more money. I promise you when you're a person who loves to spend a lot of money, I promise you you're never thinking in terms of investing, and to think is to think in the moment. So make sure that you're always writing down your thoughts. That way you're going to have more clarity in your mind. You understand? Because I always write my thoughts down. I write 30,000 thoughts a day, which are 30,000 words a day inside my journal, because that way I have more clarity. You understand? So be that type of person who can realize that when you're worth it, and when you're doing something that's worth it, you understand that it's really about bettering yourself every single day, and that way you're going to make it much better. You understand? I've got nothing figured out, although I am better than yesterday. I look better than yesterday. I have over 4,000 images inside of my Instagram right now. I realize that in about 60 days time, I'll have over 6,000. You have to understand that it's really, let's make sure that we're taking photos of ourselves and videos of ourselves, and making sure that we're always giving value and something to be positive about, because that way we're going to create a better world. You understand? And the better world is inside. You have to understand that we're never better in the outside world. I promise you that we're going to better the inside world. I promise you we're going to be better people. And to do that, you have to better your inner world. You have to understand that inner world is what you work on every single day. You have to understand that when you're writing something down, you write from within, and you realize to improve yourself and ask yourself good questions that are going to help you to lift. I realize I always have to be talking and writing in my journal to realize that when I dig after 5,000 words of writing, I realize something that I've never even thought of before, and it's realized I realized something in terms of life where I have to write it down, and that way I write it down, and I'm always better than my words, I'm always better than what I say. I always realize that I never skip my I, because I love you. I. You understand? Because I is the one way that you can really increase your confidence the more you speak it. I have to start with my sentences every time with my I and my you. You understand? Because it's about you. You have to understand it's about you. I understand it's about you. You have to understand it's about you. You have to understand that each and every sentence I start is with my I and you. I then ask questions related to something that's going to better my life. How are you today? I'm just giving some free information here about life. I'm giving some positivity. Would you love to ask a question?
It's not coming across.
What's not coming across?
Well, I walked down and I listened to you the first time.
I understand.
And I didn't hear the message you were sending, and I'm coming back up now, and can you shorter the
I see. I like to do my 3-hour content over here. I do it in front of the camera, so I'm not missing out. I don't know. I'm coming across with my video over here, so I'm doing something with my video. I make sure that no matter what, that people who watch me online are never missing out. I although realise that if somebody loves to hear what I say, I'm always continuing my work and I'm always making sure I'm positive.
Are you trying to get from those people to those people?
I'm just here to do my work in front of people and promote my Instagram. I'm doing my work. I thank you.
Positivity is necessary.
Aye.
I thought if you're trying to get from there to there, you're not doing it. But, positivity is a good thing, and I acknowledge what you're doing, and it's a good thing.
Thank you.
So that's what you're doing, and you're putting it across there.
I have to.
Keep up the good work, but from there to there, you need to be sure that, you wear it coming through here and not no.
I thank you very much. I thank you very much.
Quick insights, and then when there's no one here, go back to your screen, and then when there are people here, give positive feedback.
I do that.
So that you acknowledge the people who are coming through.
I thank you very much. I thank you for your feedback. I thank you. I thank you. I realize, guys, that no matter what happens, when you have a nice, beautiful person who comes up to you to give you some value, you just be grateful for it, because to be able to have some information that really helps, you understand that it's really nice and beautiful for yourself to really grow. You understand, because when you're growing, you always lift people. You understand, because that's the way. You understand, because I like it. You have to understand that you just be a person who's growing every single day. You always understand that is the best way. I promise you the best way is now. I promise you the best way is do it now or never do it at all. You understand? I promise you that no matter what happens, to build foundation in your life, you need to be a person who's always growing yourself in one way or another. You understand? Because those people who grow are the ones who can really do it. I promise you they can really do it in a way that they are always much more satisfied because they're growing. I promise you those people who are always dissatisfied, I promise you that those people who are dissatisfied also must be growing. In a sense, so make sure that no matter what, you are a person who's always accumulating wisdom in your life. You have to understand you're never a person who is negative in a way that you're never doing anything. You need to do something positive today that's really going to help somebody today. You have to understand, you just be a person who's promoting yourself and you never care about being heard around here. You have to understand that you're just in front of people doing it, and that's the whole point. You understand? Because I like it. You have to understand, you be that type of person who's really lifting, and that's the way you're going to find foundation in your life. You're going to find something to work on. You're going to work on it. You're going to have some passion about it. You understand? Because when you're a person who has some passion, you're going to be a person who's doing it for free. Because when you work for money, you understand that you have no passion. I promise you, I never have a passion that I have to work for money. I never work for money. I make sure I work for free. I have a passion where I can work for free only. I promise you, that way I'm always free. I'm always free to do my work, because nobody's going to give you money when you ask for it. You understand? So make sure you go do your work for free, because otherwise you have to work for money and you never work for money. I promise you, to work for money is slavery, and when you're working for money, you'll never ever learn the skills acquired to make more. I promise you that in the long run, when you have $10 million, I promise you that you are going to realize something. You're going to realize that it's about growth now, and it's never about achieving $1 trillion. You understand? Because to achieve $1 trillion is to be better than yesterday, and to make sure that you have better health, and to make sure that you're doing something foundational in your life that's going to get you in a better way. I promise you the better way is now. I promise you the better way is making sure that each and every area of your life is better than yesterday. I promise you those people who are working their communication skills are the ones really lifting. I promise you, no matter what, I had a lady coming over here who said they cannot hear me, although you understand that you guys can. I promise you, I do something for the greater good. I make sure that I better my communication skills. I do promote my Instagram over here, so no matter what, I don't care about people who cannot hear me. I realise that you guys can hear me. I realise that I'm here in front of people anyway to make sure I better myself every single day. You understand? So what I'm giving today is I'm making sure that I create myself an opportunity here to make sure that no matter what, I'm always better in my life. Because each and every time you're in front of people speaking and public speaking, I promise you it's worth it. Because what you really learn from it is that you're going to be a better speaker in front of people, and you're really expanding your comfort zone in front of people. You understand? Because that way, you don't care about the people who are walking past. Because guess what? Even when they hear you, I promise you they'll be walking past. Because guess what? When they find an entertaining person who is beatboxing, I promise you they'll go around that person more than the inspirational person. You understand? I promise you they'll be around somebody who is just entertaining more than the person who's lifting. You understand? I promise you no matter what, you be a person who's teaching something more than playing music in life. You understand? Because teaching is everything. I promise you when you teach, you'll be better than music in life. I promise you Jesus only taught something. You understand? I promise you that most people just go around entertainment in life. I promise you they just love to entertain, and because they do, I promise you they become nobodies in life. I promise you nobody knows them. I promise you their family knows them. You understand? I know nobody in life. I don't even know my family. I don't even know myself because I'm still growing. I'm still doing something foundational. I'm still doing my insides. I'm still making sure I'm looking inside because I matter. I matter in life. I don't care about women who don't care about me. You understand? I don't care about them because what I care about is lifting people. I care about people who love to grow in life. I care about them because they can teach me something. I'll go and be their student. You understand? Because most people are arrogant. I promise you, most people are arrogant and they drink alcohol, and you have to stay away from them. I promise you that it's no good. I promise you, what is good is making sure you're better than yesterday. I promise you, you have to understand that those people who are understanding that you're doing better than yesterday, I realize that you're going to make sure that you inspire, you're going to make sure that you're encouraging, because encouragement is life. And those people who understand that it's really about communication and making sure that you look inside for it, I promise you those people are going to find everything to say. I promise you they're going to be the ones who are really lifting. I promise you they're going to be the ones who are really growing. I promise you they're going to be the ones who are really promoting themselves. I promise you they're going to be the ones who have the foundation, and the ones who have the foundation of life to make sure that they look within, because that way you're going to understand that no matter what happens, you're going to be a person really lifting, and that way you're going to understand to really lift yourself even when something wrong or right goes on, which is never the way to go. You have to understand it's never the right or wrong way. You have to understand it's really the growth way. You have to understand it's really the better way. You go the better way in life, I promise you there's always something greater than you in life. You have to understand there's something greater than me in life. I realize I do that every single day. I do something greater. You understand? Because if you're just doing it for yourself, I realize that then you never have a big purpose. You understand? You have to do it for something greater in life. You have to realize that you have to be something greater. You have to understand that it's really about let's make sure that we're growing. I realize that you need to grow. You need to realize that every single time you're giving a story or something like that, you're always wrapping up in a way that you function a better way in terms of recapping and in terms of what you're saying. You have to realize you have to vibe with your words. You have to realize that you have to be a person of integrity. You need to be a person of honesty. You have to realize to never be a hypocrite, which is a liar. I'm pretty sure they're sarcastic and very down creatures. You understand? So be that person who's with a greater aspect of life, you understand? Because that way you're going to understand to recap in a way, to understand that when you're summarizing something in life, you're going to really teach what you're summarizing, and that way you're going to understand that your blueprint is what you talk about every single day, and your blueprint is something that you build skills upon. You build skills every single day to make sure that you're doing something much more foundational. You have to understand that each and every time you lift people from this moment of grace, you understand? Because that way you will be lifted. You will understand that life is to be lifted and to lift other people each and every single day to make sure that you're positive and doing something about it. I promise you that if you're always on the TV and doing nothing, I promise you that way you'll be nobody. You understand? You have to be a somebody. You have to lift. You have to live from where you are. You have to understand. I promise you, when you live from where you are, you're going to live longer. You understand? So make sure you're lifting all the time. I realize that if you're not doing it for others, I need you to do it for greater people. You understand? I need you to do it for something greater. I never do it for people. I do it for something greater. I need you to understand to go and do it for something greater and never do it for people. I'm never doing this for people. I'm doing it for something greater. Because what's greater is to grow. And when you're growing in daily life, you're going to figure out a better way. And the better way will get you there. I promise you the better way is always now. I promise you the better way is take action and make sure that you're giving your words in a way that you're lining up a better way. You understand? I promise you it's never about the drugs. I promise you it's never about cocaine and ecstasy and weed because I've been there, you understand? Because guess what? Those people will stay away from it, other ones who are going to grow. You understand? So be that type of person who understands that when you experiment with drugs, you're going to be a drug addict. And I promise you that most people deny that. I promise you that when you deny drugs, I promise you that is the best way. You understand? You'll be the person who denies it in a way that you never allow it into your life. You understand? I need you to understand to go and take control of your life. I need you to understand that a better life is the best way. I need you to understand that those people who really grow are the ones who are doing it in front of people. I need you to understand that when you're a person who is living out your schedule in a way that you understand you have to read from mentors, you have to understand you have to make sure you're doing music every single day. I promise you today, I made sure to listen to some music today before I even went to my fashion show because guess what? No matter what, when I live life, I'm always better than my words, I'm always better than what I say, and that way I understand I have to stay consistent every single day. I have to make sure I'm always posting inside Instagram. I have to make sure that I'm building my legacy in a way that is going to help me move forward, because that's the way you have to do it. And saying you have to do it in a way that you stay consistent and dedicated every single day to make sure no matter what, that you're a person who is faith. Yeah, you need faith every single day. You need to be lifting, you need to have courage, you need to be a person of high foundation, which is a person who has high integrity and high value in life to make sure you're succeeding more and more. You have to understand that those people who succeed more and more will live more and more. I need you to understand to get around the successful books and the non-fiction books where you can learn from real life people, from people who aren't really successful. You understand? Because that way you will become a success. You need to be a person who is doing something really today that's going to help you move forward. You need to be that type of person who's got what it takes every single day. You need that, really, that aspect of life where you understand that you're going to grow regardless of what is going on. You understand? You're going to be that type of person who can grab life by the throat and lift it. You understand? You have to lift life. You have to really lift life. You never be violent with life. You have to understand though that life is going to kick you down. You have to understand that you just lift up and you'll never be kicked down. I promise you that the only person hurting you right now is you. I promise you the only person that created your life is you. I promise you nobody else done that. I promise you that you are the person I promise you are the person that you must be in terms of much greater in life. You must be greater than yourself in life. You understand? Because if you're the person who is never bettering in life and you're never making sure that you're doing better, I promise you then you're never going to succeed. You have to succeed every single day and make sure you're around better people, because that way you will lift and you will build the courage that you need to succeed. Because those people who succeed are the ones doing it every single day and they're making sure they're on video. And I failed 1,000 times in this video, although you understand that each and every time I fail, I grow from it, I learn from it, I make sure that I am better than yesterday in some aspect of my area of life. Because my area of life is every single topic in the dictionary. I then teach it, I make sure I elaborate on it, I make sure that I become better in my skills and I promise you I become better in my skills and in what I do every single day, because it's about correcting yourself better so you understand that you never be a right or wrong person. You're just a person who is kind, you're a person who's really lifting, you're a person who can understand that no matter what happens, you're going to lift either way. Understand? Because it's about a foundational way of living, and the way is inside. You have to understand you're going inside for it. You understand? Because a spiritual life is the best life. You have to understand that those people who can delay gratification, I promise you those are the ones that are understanding life much greater. I promise you it's about really, let's say, never be a person who is going down. I need you to go up. I need you to realize it's one step at a time. I need you to understand it's one word at a time. I need you to understand it's really about getting more comfortable in a way that you're growing only. I need you to be in your comfort zone, because to be in your comfort zone is to be in one area, or I promise you it's to be in one area all your life, which is where you're living right now. I need you to go and move around the world, and when you're moving around the world, I promise you your friends will never follow you. I promise you then you'll find out that you have no friends except for you. You understand? I promise you that you will be your only friend in life. I promise you that way you understand to grow right now and lead the crowd right now. I need you to lead the crowd. I left the crowd 1 year ago. I need you to understand that they never follow me around Australia. You understand? I've been travelling around Australia for 1 year now. You understand? So be that type of person who can travel every single day and when you see fit. You understand? Because you have the money, you have the wealth, you have the integrity. I promise you, you'll never make $1 million working a 9-to-5 job. You understand? So you need to do something bigger than that. You have to do something out of the 9-to-5 job in order for yourself to make a life for yourself. You understand? For me, it means business. I promise you it means mindset. I promise you it means abundance and richness and clarity, and also peak performance. I read those books. I make sure no matter what, I get myself educated. I realize it's self-education that's really going to get you there. You have to understand that those people who are self-educated in life are the ones who are really doing something about it. I realize that many people will lie to you and say that you cannot be heard and stuff like that. You have to understand that you never believe them, because guess what? Many people will lead you astray. I promise you what they say is, you never know. You understand? So just be a person who understands that you just go and stick to your criteria and why you are here for. You have to understand that when people are saying that you must go this way or that way, you go the better way. You understand? I promise you, you go the way that works for you, and that way it's going to really vibe with you. You have to understand, you go where the vibe is, which is positive and which is growing you. I promise you, only 1% of the positive people can lead the planet. You understand? So be the positive person who can. I realize no matter what, you be that type of person who's really lifting yourself regardless of what's going on. I need you to be that type of person who's realizing that when you're lifting the crowd, you're doing it much better than yesterday. You're doing something that you've never done before. You're speaking a different way each and every time. You're doing something that's really foundational in your life. You're realizing you're going inside for it. You're making sure that each and every time you're giving some ideas. You're giving something of nervous. You're giving something that you never gave before. I promise you it's an idea. I promise you it's something of skills. I promise you it's something that's gonna be a long journey for you. You understand? Because when you're a person who's going along, you understand that it's something greater in you that's going to do that, and you have to realize I do this for something greater. You have to understand that you go and do something for greater good in life. You understand? Because that way you're going to understand that when you're speaking in life, you just rotate your words in each and every sentence to make sure that no matter what, that people can understand that when you're living life free. You're living life in a way that you understand that you're giving each and every idea in a different way that is new to you. Because when you're doing new and you're being newer than before, I promise you're going to be in fashion and you're going to be inspiring by yourself in terms of something greater. Because you're here to inspire yourself every single day, because I never do it for anybody else. I do it to inspire myself every single day, because that way I never get disappointed. I promise you, people disappoint me all the time. You understand? Because guess what? Now I never expect people to do anything for me, and that way I realize that I'm always growing, and that way I'm never disappointing myself because I'm always growing. You understand? So be that type of person who understands the world outside of you will disappoint you. I promise you they'll ignore you. I promise you they'll do anything in their power to never help you. In a sense, to make sure that you're helping everybody else much more, and that way you're going to have a better life. In a sense, because most people are only taking. I need you to go be the giver. I need you to realize that when you have a table full of people, you're the one in the middle giving all the ideas. I promise you, that's called a leader. I need you to understand that you be one of those people who can be the 1% of the world who is lifting people only. You understand? Because that way you're going to be doing something incredible. You understand? Because the world outside of you is never important, and what's important is inside. So make sure that when you're a person studying something, you're studying in a better way and you're taking notes down each and every time. I promise you, when I watch YouTube, I watch it on times 2 because I watch it faster than it is. And that way I get to read faster. And when I read faster, I pick it up faster, and I start to write faster. I start to really multiply my growth. And that's all the money in the world. I need you to understand the money that you work for is never important. I need you to understand what you work for is growth. And that's no shortcuts. I promise you, there's no shortcuts when you're growing. You understand? I promise you, to grow is to be the best way. You understand? So when you work for growth. You never work for money. You understand? I promise you, many people working for money are never growing. And that's why they're always in the same position. I need you to be the person who's growing, and that way you leave a 9-to-5 job eventually. I need you to understand that in order for me to overcome Brisbane, I have to make sure that for the next 9 days and for the next month, I have to be here always doing my work, because guess what? It's about lifting. I have to lift myself. I have to realize that it's always about something greater than me. You understand? Because that way I'm always going to do something much greater. I'm always a person who's doing something more foundational. I'm always making sure that when I see value, I understand that I understand that's what it is. You understand? Because guess what? I never believe anybody in what they say unless I'm a person who understands a much greater deal. You have to understand that you be a person who can really lift people in a way that you're looking inside. You understand? Because you have to find the words to say from within you, and the only way to do that is to write more. You have to be able to write more, and that way you will build a better foundation in your life. You'll find foundation when you start writing. You'll find foundation when you start growing. I promise you can grow today with nice, beautiful information that's going to grow you in terms of success books, and also spiritual books, and also personal development books. You can go and read them every single day. I promise you, you have to dedicate yourself. I promise you, nobody is going to do it for you. I promise you, you have to go and do it yourself. You have to walk your own steps. You have to be that person who's promoting yourself every single day, and you do it freely, and you do it nice, and you make sure that you encourage people in an encouraging fashion, because that way you're going to be in fashion, because many people never encourage you. I promise you that you have to go around the ones that are doing it every single day. You understand? So be around those people, because they're going to motivate you, and that way you're going to be inspired. I promise you, when somebody motivates you to do something, you're inspired by that person, and make sure that you're grateful. I realize that when you're making sure that you're grateful, you're going to do something to inspire others, because you've been inspired, and that way it's a nice chain of effect that's going to be kind. I realized that you stay away from negativity, you tune it out, and that way you're going to understand that skills is everything when it comes to life. I realized that skills is the way to go. I realized that you have to understand that Jim Rohn says, stay away from the 9 to 5 and work on yourself more than you do at the 9 to 5. I realized that's what I'm doing now. I realized I have to work and work and work, because guess what? It's about growth, and growth is freedom. And those people who understand growth understand life. You understand? So be that type of person who can grow each and every single day. I promise you that is going to be the best decision of your life. I promise you the best decision is live in your heart, and that way you'll understand what growth is. I promise you the growth is never in it. I promise you the growth is never in other people. I promise you it's in you. I promise you it's you growing on your own. You're growing intentionally, as John C. Maxwell says. And you should understand that you need to go and apply information more and more into your life, so you realize that you are worth it. You're worth it in your life to have a greater one. In a sense, so realize that I always have to push myself to grow. I have to push myself, because that way when I'm pushing myself to grow, I'll be in discomfort. You understand? Because many people are in their comfort zone and they're never pushing themselves to do anything. You understand? So be that type of person who can go in front of a crowd and push yourself to be there every single day. I realize I have to be here every single day for 3 hours to give my video content and make sure that I'm always talking better than yesterday, because that's pushing myself into discomfort to grow every single day, and to be wiser, to make sure that I always say something rather than nothing. I always have something to say because I'm interesting. Understand? So be that type of person who's interesting in your life. I mean, do it every single day. I mean, do it in life, where you can understand that life is to be valuable in life. You understand? You have to be valuable. You have to be a valuable person. You have to look at life as valuable, and that way you'll be a happier person. Because when you wake up in the morning and you want to kill yourself, as Tony Yugoslav, you understand that you live a life of misery. So never be that type of person who wants to kill yourself. I realize that when you want to kill yourself, you go and find positive encouragement and go around people who are positive. I promise you, you'll start learning from them, and they will motivate you to live more of life. You understand? So be that person who understands that you're creating your life every single second. You understand? So what you are is what you think, and what you think must be in the moment, and you must write it down now, today, to rotate your mind, which is never your mind, because you are a person. You're a spiritual being living inside of yourself. You understand? So make sure that you understand that you're a spiritual divine being who's out of this world. You understand? Because your mind is only part of this world. You understand? Because guess what? This mind I had to live in the body for. You understand? So no matter what, when you understand that you're never going to pass away, you're never a person who's going to pass away, you're a person who is going to really live. You're a person who can really understand the life and the gift of life, because when you stuff up, you understand, you're going to be a person who's going to build some resilience. And you have to understand that spiritual beings are we. I promise you, we are spiritual beings living a divine life. You understand? We're divine. And because we're divine, you understand that we're people out of this world. I realize that we're not people. I promise you, we're souls that are connected together, and we're always going to be that in life that are greater than this world. You understand? So make sure no matter what, you understand that in order for you to connect to your soul every single day, you're going to look inside for it. I promise you, you'll never find your soul in other people. You're going to find your heart inside, and you're going to realize to live with your heart every single day, because it's worth it. You understand? Because those people who live in their heart are the ones who are going to find the foundation they need to succeed. You have to understand that EQ is everything. I promise you, EQ is inside of you. I promise you, those people who have EQ are the ones who are never going to regret anything. You understand? Because the higher your EQ, I promise you, the higher your spirituality, and also your emotional intelligence, which is emotional quotient, which is peak performance. You understand? So people who read peak performance books and anything to do with athleticism and agility and anything to do with health, I promise you, those people are going to vibe better, and they're going to help the world much better. And you should understand that those people who have more energy are the ones who are going to be more uplifting. And you should be around those people who can be uplifting, because that way you will become one. You have to understand that no matter what, you be a person who's always looking inside for everything. I realized when I was walking here today, I realized that I was looking inside more than the outside crowd, because I have my music playing, and that way I can focus on myself and what's going on. Because when I focus on other people, I start to neglect myself. I realize they're never worth my attention. You understand? So you have to understand, I am much more worth my attention than anybody else. You have to understand, that way you be that type of person who can look at yourself more than anybody else. You understand? Because that's self-love. You understand? You have to understand that those people who have attention are more successful. You understand? Because you need more attention in your daily life to make sure that you're lifting people in a way that's going to be positive, and that way you're going to be a person who gives ideas every single day, and you're showing up for it, and you're making sure that no matter what, you be a better person for it. You're always a better person. You're always making sure that something in you is going to be passion. You're a passionate person. You have to understand that when you stuff up your communication, you have to understand it's really about lifting anyway. You lift up anyway, and you speak faster and faster and faster, and that way you'll never ever slow down. You understand? You never slow down for anybody. You make sure that you learn faster than anybody else. I promise you, that way you understand that when communication is key. I promise you it's right now. I promise you need to communicate more. I promise you need to communicate more in your daily life to make sure that you look inside for the words that you need to say, because that way you understand to find foundation, you need to be a better person. You have to be a better person right now in order for yourself and your life to make sure that you have a better one. You understand? Because that way you'll understand to make sure you're lifting yourself in a way that's going to inspire you. You're always inspiring you. I thank you very much. I thank you. I realize no matter what, just be that type of person who can understand to really lift. You're lifting the crowd, you're lifting yourself the most, because guess what? You're always showing up for business, you're showing up for mindsets, you're showing up for something to brainstorm. You understand? You're brainstorming in a video, you're brainstorming in audio, you're connecting the dots together, you're making sure that you're doing something positive, and when I stuff up, I keep going, because guess what? I really never stuffed up, because I'll always learn from it. You understand? I always learn from something amazing. I always learn from what I'm doing. I'm always learning from my aspects of life and how I can become better. I'm always learning about how beautiful my life. I realize I'm always learning about how beautiful my life is. You have to understand that when there's a storm going on around you, you understand that something beautiful is happening. You understand? So make sure you're looking inside. You're never affected. You're never a person who is going and looking outside, because what's important is you. You have to understand over here in Brisbane, I realise this is full of wind outside. You have to understand that I never focus on the outside world, although you understand that when you do, you look inside more. And so you never be affected about what's going on outside. You be a person who's looking inside, and that way you'll never be a negative person, and you'll never be a pessimist. I promise you that it's worth it. I promise you it's worth to live a greater life today. And you should understand that those people who are living life are the ones who are free. I promise you they're the ones who are really foundational in what they're doing. I promise you they're the ones who are going to succeed. I promise you they're the ones who are really going to have something to say, and you say it now, and you realise, I thank you very much, boss, thank you. I promise you it's inspiring, I thank you. I realize no matter what, I have a person over here who just lifted up one of my stuff to make sure that everybody else can see what I have to say. And it's always beautiful when somebody supports you in terms of life. So make sure that you are supporting somebody and lifting other people up, and that way you're lifting yourself and you're growing yourself in the process. I promise you that's what it's all about. You go and lift and be kind toward yourself much more and much greater. You just have to realize that no matter what in life, make sure that when you're finding foundation, you're doing something positive, you're making sure that you never care about what's going on in the outside world, because many people are going to disappoint you. You need to realize that you need to look inside for it. You have to understand that what you're looking for is a greater life. You have to understand it's really about spirituality. You have to understand that what you talk about is something that you can never do. You have to understand that you can do anything in life. You have to understand it's just about explaining it in a better way to make sure you can do it. You have to say, I can do it every single day. You have to understand you go to speak about something that can never be explained, is what I mean. You have to understand you go and be a person who understands that a spiritual life is the best life, and that life is inside. I promise you, when other people never need to hear you around the microphone, you keep speaking, because it's a free world. Understand? I promise you, when you have a problem, you put them on the floor. Understand? I mean, you just put their head on the floor and you realize that no matter what, you keep them there. Because that way, you understand that self-defense is a mechanism to make sure that no matter what, you never get hurt. Because if you're not, I promise you, if you're not hitting yourself, I promise you never do that ever. You understand? You never tell people to hit them. You never tell people to hit people. You understand? Because that way, you understand, you just be a person who allows it. You allow people to hit you, and that way, you understand that you're going to be free anyway. You have to understand. You be a person who understands that something in you is really retaliating to what's going on, and you have to understand that when people are hitting you, you realize that you just let them, and that way you understand that you never fight back, because violence is never going to solve anything in life. You have to understand it's really about communication skills. You have to understand you be that type of person who understands that you be a person who realizes you never put on the floor, you put somebody much greater who is something much greater than you into fruition. You have to understand you speak about something greater in life, and that way you'll understand that no matter what, you'll be a person who's never traumatized about what's going on. You'll be a person who's really doing your work, and you'll never be a crybaby for it. You understand? So be a person who grows from what you're really doing. You're growing from your life, you're doing something amazing, and you realize that no matter what, you can put them on the floor in terms of life when somebody's trying to hit you. You understand? Just make sure that they never kill you. You understand? So no matter what, be that type of person who understands that you deserve to live life when you're living free. You understand? I promise you, although, that you allow everything that's going on, and that way you're going to forgive, you're going to be a better person for it. You have to understand that life is to be lived, and you never cause a disaster, you never cause violence or anything like that. You make sure that no matter what, you're a person who understands that when you're living life, you're living free, you're living a life of freedom, and that way you understand to stay away from negativity, and when they come up to you, you be positive about it, and that way you'll never get into violence. I promise you, negativity begets negativity, and negativity is violence. So violence begets violence. You understand? So never be a violent person. I promise you, it's never worth it. I promise you, what's worth it is your voice. I promise you that you need to go and speak it. I promise you, you need to go and speak it more. I promise you, when people are trying to traumatize you, you have to understand that you be a person who is never traumatizing yourself, and that way you will grow and you will do something really great. You understand? Because you need to be greatness, and you need to be a greatness person, and that way you'll understand that you're a divine being living a spiritual life over here. You understand? So be a person who understands to grow yourself in a way that you understand that no matter what happens, I have to always make sure that I'm always making sure in life. You understand? Because that way you're going to build contentment, which is confidence, and when you have more confidence, you understand you're making sure of life. You're always making sure, you're always making more sure in terms of your common sense. You understand? So you're making sure of common sense, you're making sure that you're doing better, you're making sure that you have a better life. You understand? You're making sure that this person is positive. You're making sure in terms of you're making common sense. You understand? Because to make common sense, it is to make sure. So be that type of person who understands that life is now, and when your life is now, you're doing something really great, and that way you're never affected by what's going on, and you're focused inside, because inside is gratitude. You have to understand when you're talking inside, you're doing something inside, you're going to always be a better person, and that way you're going to really lift yourself the most, and that's what it's all about. You have to understand you lift yourself, you make sure that no matter what, you're a person of high intent, which means you have high clarity, you have high performance, you have something really great in you, and you have to show it every single day. You have to make sure that you're showing it, you're brilliant, and making sure you're doing something really great, and you just realize that no matter what, when you get really scared, you have to understand it's really your ego that's scared. You have to understand you grow from it. You have to understand that when people never love you, you give your love with yourself first. You have to understand you just deserve your love. You never need that love in the first place. What you need, or else what you need, is your love the most. Understand? Because guess what? When you are a person who is energy deficient in life, you understand that you have less love to give. So make sure that no matter what, you're a person who has high energy, and that way you will understand that life is to be lived right now. You need to be a person who's really doing something really foundational in a way that you understand that when you're lifting yourself, you're always lifting the crowd, you're always lifting and doing something foundational, where you understand that no matter what happens, you're a person who is never annoyed about what's happened. You understand, you just lift yourself from it, you lift yourself from what's going on, and when negative people come up to you, you have to understand you never regret anything that you said. You just make sure you're lifting from it, you make sure no matter what, you never cause violence, and that way you will be a spiritual person inside. You have to understand you can never be a spiritual person out there. You can do much greater by finding the foundation inside, which is your aspect of life, which is your essence of life, where you must live it in a greater way. You understand? Because if you're not living in a greater way, you'll never live longer. You have to understand, you need to be better than yesterday. I promise you, no matter what, you have to look better, you have to feel better, you have to have more muscle. You have to understand that you have to look much more powerful in a way that you understand that it's all about wisdom. You have to understand, the more wisdom you have, I promise you, the greater life you'll live. I promise you, the more you study and research something, I promise you, the better you are in your life. You have to be that type of person who does it every single time, and when somebody's really annoying you all the time, you have to understand that you be never annoyed. You never be annoyed about anything. You be a person who's really growing. You be a person who's got something to say, and you say it every time. You say something that's really going to help you, and that way you understand that you be a person of great contentment, where you understand that it's really about your credentials and what are you bringing to the table. You have to understand, when you're bringing positivity and you're bringing business and you're collaborating with people for free, you've got nothing to lose, and that way you're going to give something, you're going to make sure that you're giving something of value, and that way you understand that it's freedom that we are living for. You understand? I promise you, when you're looking ahead, you're looking for where the freedom is at, because that's the best road. You understand? I promise you, when you're financially free and a person has freedom, I promise you that is all you need. You know? You understand? So I never know anything. I'm a person who's always growing. I'm always a person who's always elaborating on my words and making sure that I can always give more ideas to the best of my ability. And when people are not grateful for it, I don't care, because I'm doing better than yesterday. You understand? I see many people who are worse than yesterday and they think they know it all. You understand? I promise you, I don't know anything. I just realize that I'm a person who has greater experience than before. I realize I'm doing better than yesterday. I realize I'm speaking better, I'm looking better. I'm a person who has better skin. I'm a person who is aging much better than yesterday. You have to realize I'm not aging old. I'm a person who has experience in life. I realize that you never be scared of the world around you. You be a person who understands that life is going to try to knock you down, and they're going to try to criticize you, and they're going to say you're a nobody, mate, because you have 200 followers on Instagram. I realize you never care about those people because you're never fooled when you have more wisdom. You understand? I mean, you look better than them. I mean, you feel better than them. I mean, you eat better than them. I realize that you're traveling more than them, and they're trying to tell you what to do. You understand? So never listen to those people who are less successful than you. You understand? You go towards the people who are more successful than you, and that way you're going to be more encouraged, and you're going to be more of a successful person who is a leadership person who can understand, you can communicate, you can do something foundational. You have to understand it's never about the money. You have to understand it's about freedom. You understand? Freedom over money. You have to understand it's about something great in you that you can do today that's greatness. You understand? Because you go and give it every single day on a microphone, or you can do it online. You can understand no matter what you're doing in front of people eventually. You understand? Because that way you understand you're much greater. You're doing something much more worth it. You're doing something that's of worthiness. And that way you're going to be more of that in life. You're going to have more love. You're going to have more love to give. You're going to be that type of person who can really succeed. Understand? Because when you're doing your work, you have to understand you're always promoting yourself. You're a person who's loving yourself. You're a person who understands that when people ignore you, you don't care because you're doing something better than them. And that way you understand because you're doing something for the greater good. And that's the best. You understand? You guys have to understand that you got to do something that's greater than me. And that way you're going to be more inspirational. I realize that no matter what, I've learned some things around the street. You have to understand that when you're learning, you're growing, you're making sure that you're revising. You're revising your videos, and you're making sure that you're revising in your journal. I promise you that's how to find foundation. I realize that a foundation is something you build. You have to understand. You have to build a house of bricks, and that is wisdom. I promise you, the more of it you have, I promise you, you'll never be swept away like the straw house and the stick house. You understand? Because the three little pigs and the pig who has the house of bricks is the one that is going to grow the most. I promise you that's the one that's the smartest. I promise you have to go around smarter people in life. I promise you no matter what, this world never makes sense to me because guess what? I make sense much greater than yesterday anyway. You have to understand that. Those people understand that you make sense anyway. You have to understand it's really about never look at the outside world and you're looking inside and you make sure that you're never depressed about it. You have to understand that it's really about something greater, and you have to understand that when they're not going for you, you go for yourself the most, and you have to understand that it's never about them anyway. You have to understand it's never about other people because this world outside of me never makes sense. I realize that what makes sense is inside. I realize that many people are going to say something about you that you never make sense, or that you have no muscles, or that you look a certain way, or something like that because they're jealous of you. And you have to understand that you just stay away from those people. You have to understand that most of the outside world is lost. I promise you they're lost, and they're going each and every different directions. And one person's going to say, go this way, and another person's going to say, don't go that way, I need you to go that way. And you should understand that it's really that you go for the better way. You understand? And realize the better way is inside. And those people who learn how to grow, I've learned how to grow. I'm learning more and more every day, although I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing, I've learned some skills where I can teach it. I've learned something that I can give. I realize that I'm still learning everything that I've learned. You understand? Because I'm always leaving room for improvement. I'm always leaving room to do something more. You understand? Because I deserve something more. I deserve to give more. I deserve to really speak on camera every single day. I realize I deserve it. I'm that in which I do. You understand? So in what I do, it's what I say, and what I say is what I do. You have to understand that's called living your talk. And when you're living your talk, you're a person of high intent, which means you're a person who has integrity, and you always give the ideas every single day, because ideas, it starts with an I. And when you have the I more in life, you're going to be a person who's increasing, and you're going to realize that the I is going to really help you out, and that way you're going to be a positive person. You're going to be doing something amazing. You have to understand, I'm never lost. I'm never doing anything that is going to make sure that I lose myself. I'm never losing myself ever, because guess what? That way, I'm always better than yesterday. I'm always doing something that's going to lead myself in a greater way. And those people who are inspired by me, I realize that no matter what, I help for free. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing this for free. I realize that way I'm giving something to the table. You have to realize that when people are saying switch off your microphone because they don't want to hear you, I realize that I don't care about them, and you can go walk away now. You understand? Because guess what? I'll never shut up. You understand? So you have to kill me then. You have to understand. You be a person who understands that you just lift up. Anyway, you have to understand that when you're causing violence and telling other people to shut up, I realize that you're telling yourself to shut up. You understand? So be a person who is never telling people to shut up. I realize you're really growing people and understanding that it's really never about shutting up. You have to understand it's about speaking up. You understand? You speak up more, you understand, because you're doing it for something greater. And that way you understand that no matter what happens, you're never affected. You're never affected by the outside world. You're here to do your videos, you're here to show up every single day and do something and pronounce yourself in a better way. You understand? When you're pronouncing yourself in a better way, you are going alone throughout life because that's the way to live. I promise you, the way to live is go alone. I promise you then you'll be an eagle. I promise you you'll be a wolf. You understand? Because I never need you around the sheep. You understand? I need you around the wolves. I need you around the people who are eagles. You understand? You're flying in life. You're flying alone. You're walking the journey alone because that's the best journey. I promise you that Jesus never need anybody who is going in the desert for 40 days with him. You understand? Because Jesus went alone. I need you to understand that you're going to be inspired today, every single day, with yourself, because you have to smart people and you have to understand when people are saying something with you, I promise you they may be lying. So no matter what, be a person who understands to go and believe something greater anyway. You have to understand that every thought matters when it's positive. You have to understand that you have to write it down. You have to be a person who's writing everything down. So make sure that you're bettering your thoughts and bettering your life. You understand? Because you can change your life today when you own up to it. You understand? You have to own up to your life. You have to understand you own up to who you are. You have to understand who you are is a divine being who is living a spiritual life right now. You understand? So be that type of person who understands that when you're a person who's lifting the crowd, you'll be the person who deserves it. You'll be the person who understands yourself in a much greater fashion. You understand yourself in a much greater fashion. In that way, you're going to really have empathy. And when I realize that when you're understanding empathy, you're going to be a person who's really growing. And when you put yourself in other people's shoes, I realize that it really means that you're going inside and you're just growing yourself. And that way, you understand life more. You understand? So be that. I realize that you be that type of person who can grow. And you learn the skills to grow each and every single day, because otherwise you'll die, and I never need you to die. I need you to be a person who's an upbeat and never a deadbeat. I need you to realize that a deadbeat is a person who is depressed and a pessimist and a violent person. I need you to realize that you never cause violence in the world. I never need you to be negative. I need you to be a person who finds a greater foundation in your life. I need you to understand that when you have a great foundation, you'll be a person who's public speaking much greater. You'll be a person who's doing something around your audio and also video, and doing something around books and also clothes. I need you to realize that it's really, let's never ever shout over other people, you understand? Because when you have a nice beautiful microphone, it's going to help you to really whisper in the microphone and your voice will be heard really easily. Because I had some person come up to me today and say that you never need a microphone, you have to shout over people because he doesn't want to hear my voice. You understand? So I said, I have a microphone because I need a microphone to talk better. I realized they're saying that I need no microphone. I need a microphone all the time to make sure that no matter what, that my voice is heard much greater. Understand? So be that type of person that has something of technology where you can go and use it to make sure that you're helping people with it. I realize no matter what, you understand that I have a portable speaker over here, which is $9 a Big W. I realize that when I do some nice, beautiful motivational techniques over here, I realize that I make sure to give you all the tactics I can to make sure that I'm growing myself the most, because other people say that I make no sense, although I make sense for myself and something greater. You understand? Because I never came here for other people, I came here for something greater. You have to understand, it's really about something greater in life. You have to understand it's really about foundational techniques that you can give towards others to make them grow. And that way you're going to understand that no matter what, that your thoughts must be in the moment, and that way you have no ego, because thoughts is ego. And the more thoughts you have that you're not writing down, I promise you the more mental health issues you have. You understand? So make sure you're writing it all down, and that way you're going to create a book, and you're going to create more books, and that way you're going to start personal development, and you're going to start a personal development journey, and you're going to enjoy it, because guess what? Nobody's going to develop you. I promise you, you're alone in life. I promise you that you may be holding your girlfriend's hand or boyfriend's hand. I promise you they're not going to grow you. You understand? So make sure no matter what, you're a person who understands that. You have to understand that it's about ideas, and you have to apply them. You understand? You need to grow yourself. You need to be a person who understands that nobody's going to grow you in life, and you have to go and grow. I promise you nobody's doing this for me. I promise you nobody's going to write my story. I promise you nobody's going to build my legacy. I have to grow that myself. I have to realize I have the love inside me to do it every single day. And you have to understand, if somebody kills me, I don't care, because guess what? I left something behind that is greatness. You understand? So you be a person who understands that you never think about the worst. You think about the best in the moment. You never think at all. You just go do what's great today. I realize that there are many inspirational people who have better skills than you. You have to go and learn from them. You have to go and do something that's amazing. You have to realize that it's really about what do you need to do today to grow. And that way you grow in maturity. I realize that for me, it's public speaking and doing something around communication every single day. Because that way I'm going to grow. I'm going to do something amazing. I realize that no matter what, you have to be inspirational and have an astonishing ability every single day. And make sure you keep it up, because the way you keep it up is to make sure that you're growing in every single manner that you can. I realize that you have to grow your health. You have to grow your career. You have to grow your personal freedom. You have to grow your financial freedom. You have to grow every single aspect of your life in terms of your body and your muscles and your nutrition. And you also have to improve your lifestyle. You have to travel the world. You have to do this on your own. You have to understand that, yes, you need mentors and all that, and they'll give you the ideas that you need, although you understand that eventually you're going to have to take the action yourself, and you're going to have to start walking like they are in a better way. You understand? You have to do it in a better way. You never copy other people, although you never reinvent the wheel when you're a person who is already successful. You keep it up and you do it much better. You reinvent the wheel in a way that's much better for you, and you're never doing something different when you're so good at public speaking, for example. You go and do your passion. You're never changing passions. You're making sure you're adding to yourself. You're always adding passions in your life. You're doing something amazing. You're doing something incredible. You're making sure that no matter what, you're a person really who is graceful. You're never a disgrace, because a disgrace is never teaching anything. They're never doing anything, and they're just taking from the government, and they're taking from everybody else, and they're not giving anything in return. You have to understand that you have to go and contribute something, and that's the way to build foundation. You have to understand, to find foundation is to live it now, and to make sure that you're building your career upon what you're passionate about, and you're doing it for free all your life, and that way you're going to grow, and you're going to make sure that communication skills is going to get you there. So make sure that when you find foundation, you'll find communication skills, and that's the only way to be, because those people who speak more are the ones who are living more and also have a better life. Alright, that's no matter what, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.